Hi, I'm Mike Alvarez. 10 years ago, Roky Erickson asked me to perform with him in Demon Angel, A Day and Night with Roky Erickson, a documentary originally shot for Swedish television. We've updated the version by adding some interview footage of some very important people in Roky Erickson's life. We certainly hope you enjoy the show.
To the left, my eye turns to the left to say no, to say first I am a special one. I never hammer my mind down, I never have that bloody hammer, I never have that bloody hammer, I never have that bloody hammer, I never have that bloody, I never have that bloody, I never have that bloody hammer. Doctor, I am the psychiatrist, to make sure they don't think that they'd hammer their minds out, or that they'd have a bloody hammer, or that they'd have a bloody hammer, or that they'd have a bloody hammer, or that they'd have a bloody, or that they'd have a bloody, or that they'd have a bloody hammer. Second, I am the special one. My eyes green and blue turn safely unbegotten to the left to say no, while the others with their hair turned white will please roll their eyes back to the top of their head and hammer the attic floor with a bloody hammer. I never have that bloody hammer. I never have that bloody, I never have that bloody, I never have that bloody hammer. It's not a sledgehammer, it's not a chisel, it's a train, it's not a train, it's not a train, it's not a train, but a thought of unlimited horror for Dr. O'Chain. I never have them bloody, bloody, bloody hammer.
Rocky's musical life probably started when he was like 10 or 11. Because I remember Mrs. Erickson told me once that she would take him to guitar lessons at the YMCA instead of school. And it was like everybody, or other things that people thought like, oh, you should be doing this with your kid, like baseball or whatever. And her whole thing was like, no, let's just go to the Y and take guitar lessons when he was really young. And that's a lot different than what most people thought about raising kids in early 60s Texas. I think one of the reasons Roky was so great at a young age was because nobody ever told him he was doing the wrong thing. He was actually, I think, nurtured and allowed to pursue it. So from that, I mean, in a band like the Spades when he was 14, 15, 16 years old, and that was pretty young for kids back in Texas to be in rock and roll bands. Now it's normal. And then Roky joining the Elevators when he was 17, yeah, that was a very heavy band for a 17-year-old kid to get into.
It's a cold night for alligators. It's a cold night for dogs. The dogs choke on their barking when they see alligator persons in a bargain phone. It's a cold night for alligators when men turn into them in the night. It's a cold night for alligators. It's a cold night for their mind. Trees with moss. Don't ever hear the swampers screaming. They're forever and lost. It's a cold night for alligators in the blend. It's a cold night for alligator. Perfect monster has no end. Okay, go ahead. Take it on home.
In Austin, the whole scene was centered around one thing, which was the Elevators. And all the other bands were sort of patterned after the Elevators.
Well, the thing about the Elevators, the reason they were so influential was mainly because nobody had ever heard anything like that. I mean, rock and roll in Texas at the time, you have to remember, was like glorified bubblegum, like the Five Americans. There was a lot of blues in Texas, but not that many white people playing it, so the blues was off in a corner like Lightning Hopkins and some of those people. You know, major league players, but not really that accessible to teenagers. But the Elevators, they came along and had a sound, a rock and roll sound, which was so loud and so evolved that immediately people in Texas just went, that's the band.
The Elevators were designed from day one, before anyone had ever heard them, when they were still rehearsing and planning the whole thing. In the very early planning stages, the Elevators were designed to be a cult item, and they invented the cult item.
The San Francisco rock scene started 64, 65 with bands like the Warlocks, which turned into the Grateful Dead, the Great Society, which turned into the sort of the Jefferson Airplane, the early groups that later became Quicksilver, and they were all mainly folk rock musicians. And so the Elevators hit San Francisco in 1966 and had this full tilt rock and roll sound. There was hardly any folk music in it. There wasn't any blues in it. It was just like flat out rock and roll. It's just this thing they'd fashioned out of thin air almost. And I think a lot of the San Francisco bands saw it and realized that, you know, they could drop their folk pretensions and just become like real rock and roll bands. And I think the Elevators really snapped a lot of San Francisco bands to the fact that you didn't need folk music, just rock and roll.
Janis Joplin, you know, got a lot of her singing style and screams from Roky, and then Robert Plant said he got his singing style from Janis Joplin. And I also believe that there was songs, the songwriters were all writing songs back and forth, like Bob Dylan and the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and the Elevators were all writing little song letters back and forth to each other, like Rocky Raccoon and Rocks Off and Come Together by the Beatles. Bob Dylan had Ballad of Frankie Lee and Judas Priest, and you know, the Elevators were writing Dear Dr. Doom back in response to Dylan's song, and you know, so there was all some links. They were all contemporaries in my opinion.
Yeah, I could play you a Dylan song, sure.
Yeah, I love to.
Before she can sleep in the sand. How many times can a man, I can't even, no. How many times can a cannonball splat before they're forever banned? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
There were groups, you know, as far away as San Francisco and New York, you know, who always, they heard the first single, which was You're Gonna Miss Me in 1966, and thought, you know, what is that? Why does it sound so strong? And some people say it was like the first punk single ever made, but I think it's beyond that. I think it was more like one of the first great American rock and roll bands.
I was selling records and a man came along with an entourage with him, and I had no idea what he was up to. He said, I want to take a look through your records. I said, you can look through the records, that's fine. He starts going through all the records and he goes, well, what did you pick up today? I go, well, here's some of the things I picked up. And I started handing him records. I said, well, I picked up this one. He goes, this one? I ain't never seen one of these before. And he stops some man next to me, goes, look, I ain't never seen one of these before. Look at this, look at this. And he goes on and on and on. I don't know what this guy's problem is, you know? So, as he's getting ready to walk away from me, something hits in my head, and I go, I know this man from somewhere. And the man who was selling records with me says, do you realize who that was? That was Roky Erickson. And I go, oh man, no way that was Roky Erickson. This is the record that Roky Erickson picked up and said, I ain't never seen one of these before with me.
You're gonna wake up one morning as the sun greets the dawn. You're gonna wake up one morning as the sun greets the dawn. You're gonna look around in your mind, girl. You're gonna find that I'm gone. You didn't realize. You didn't realize. You didn't realize. you didn't realize. Why you gonna miss me, baby? Why you gonna miss me, baby? Why you gonna miss me, baby? Child, yeah, yeah, yeah. I gave you the warning, but you never heeded it. How can you say you miss my loving and you never needed it? You're gonna wake up wondering, find yourself all alone. What's gonna stop you, baby? I'm not coming home. I'm not coming home. I'm not coming home. Why? Yeah. You're gonna wake up wondering, find yourself all alone. What's gonna stop you, baby? I'm not coming home. I'm not coming home. I'm not coming home. Wow! Right! Oh yeah!
Well, the elevators, when they came home from San Francisco in 1966, they'd seen what freedom was all about, because in San Francisco there was so much that was just allowed. And they came back to Texas, I think, and tried to maybe keep some of the same behavior that they were allowed to have in San Francisco. And immediately the law enforcement, like the DPS, which is the Department of Public Safety, the Texas Rangers, the different police departments in the cities, saw this and just said, no way. You know, we are going to put you out of business.
At that time, Lyndon Johnson was in the White House, and so we had a Texan for a president. And I guess the authorities felt that they couldn't have, you know, bands singing about opening up your mind and letting everything come through and stuff. And since the Sir Douglas Quintet and Janis Joplin, Steve Miller, and Boz Scaggs all moved out to San Francisco, the elevators came out here but didn't become residents. They went back to Texas, and so they were an easy target.
So they started arresting them, harassing them to the extent where the elevators became paranoid and lost their freedom, really. And once they started being arrested and charged, it was all over.
Well, the second time he was arrested, before he was arrested, he had come home from California, and he had a nervous breakdown. This is what happened. A friend had picked him up, and they went up to Mount Bunnell and were arrested for possession. And since we had had a psychiatrist with him, the lawyer said, well, probably the best thing is to plead insanity. So they put him in the state hospital.
What do you think about cops?
What I think about them?
Yeah.
Well, I like to, you know, wait a while and then watch their program and everything, you know.
What kind of program?
Well, they've got a show on at night, you know, that's called Cops. You know,
you like
comes
it?
on. Every once in a while I watch it.
You told me you like.
Sometimes I do. You know.
You told me you like Columbo a lot.
Sometimes. Yeah, I love Columbo. I love Columbo.
He's a cop too.
Yeah, he is. He is. I know that. The damn thing is still out there. The damn thing is still out there.
told me, yes, he told me that I never did anything wrong. He told me, yes, he told me it's just a song. Every demon with the damn thing. Every demon with the damn thing. Fangs with the damn thing, because I never did anything wrong. Fangs with the damn thing, because I never did anything wrong.
I had heard rumors that since he had gone AWL, that probably they'd send him to Rusk Hospital. He was the only one there who was just there for drug offense. It was a wall-to-wall murderers.
When I was 7 and my mom took me to visit Roky at Rusk State Hospital, and my memory there is that Roky was trying to make me feel better for seeing him there. You know, once again, his big love was coming out. He felt bad that this little kid had to try to relate to him in this situation, and it was quite a traumatic experience for me to see him there. And the message I took from that was I better not show anybody how talented I can be, and I better avoid rock and roll like the plague, because look what he got for doing what he's doing.
I made it through Rusk. I'm just saying that drunks control mental hospitals. You know, they say they're the criminals. You know, and they're all, you know, they'll go inside a mental hospital. A drunk will, you know, just like that he's, like that he's going to a fight or something. Friends with the beast because of sharp teeth, the devil so red, the fiery evil clear, white faces always haunt me so beautifully. Learning tempos, meditating churches, always me out the white of the devil in me. The fat of demonism at ends begins. Fangs gnashing at the beauty as in reaches in. White faces always haunt me so beautifully. Learning temples, meditating churches, always me out the white of the devil in me. Colorful, so colorful, writhing with a serpent dragon, fire breathing, with a serpent tongue, a wagon, white faces always haunt me so beautifully. Learning temples, meditating churches, always bring out the white of the devil in me. Always bring out the white of the devil in me. White faces always haunt me so beautifully. Learning temples, meditating churches, always bring out the white of the devil in me. Always bring out the white of the devil in me. Always bring out the white of the devil in me.
I find it interesting that Roky made such a comeback and a second career after release from the authorities in the mental hospital.
It was early 75, late 74. Roky brought me out here from Austin to work with the new aliens. Roky had like multiple references to that word, and he wanted to call it something utilizing the name alien, and so it seemed like the aliens would be easy for disc jockeys to remember.
It seems like the aliens stuff was more of what really pure Roky, or more of what Roky wanted to do, rather than being influenced by Tommy Hall or someone else in the band regarding the lyrics and just the way it was put out. Felt like it was more straightforward Roky.
We were making a conscious effort to distinguish between Rocky's music and the Elevators, and Roky pretty much wanted to put the Elevators thing behind him, and it seemed like the thing to do at the time. And so we pretty much concentrated on doing a state-of-the-art version of Rocky's music with the sonic and musical imagery that would facilitate that.
I've seen your face before, I've known you all my life. And though it's new, your image cuts me like a knife. And now I'm home, and now I'm home, and now I'm home. The fierceness of our feelings rocks me like a roar. It's good to know we won't be strangers anymore. Now I'm home, and now I'm home, and now I'm home to stay. Though this is our first meeting, we needn't bother speaking. All we might say is understood. I'm home, and now I'm home, and now I'm home to stay. The fierceness of our feelings rocks me like a roar. It's good to know we won't be strangers anymore. And now I'm home, and now I'm home, and now I'm home to stay. Though this is our first meeting, needn't bother speaking. All we might say is understood. I've seen your face before, I've known you all my life. And though it's new, your image cuts me like a knife. And now I'm home, and now I'm home, and now I'm home to stay. And now I'm home, and now I'm home, and now I'm home to stay.
I love it all. I really dig what he did with Aliens. I mean, for a while there, I was like, wow, what is this? Two-headed dog. I walk with a vampire. Oh no, what is this? But I can relate now. I can see where he's come from.
One day he got me to play the auto harp on Two-Headed Dog, and it turned out to be pretty psychedelic. The recording session was really in like 100 little bits and pieces. It wasn't like the recording session for any of those songs.
What do you think's going to happen? Do you think we're going to have a nuclear war? You think that someone's going to drop a bomb? You know? You think that's going to happen?
No, I don't think it ever will. You know, I just don't think it ever will happen, you know.
You're afraid of the nuclear
Well,
bombs or energy?
no, I'm not at all. I'm not afraid of them at all, really. Two-headed dog, I'd be working in the Kremlin with a two-headed dog. Two-headed dog, I'd be working in the Kremlin with a two-headed dog. Peace brought back, relax being young, brought back. Did you try her out, win her out like jerky? To me she's healed on time. Two-headed dog, I'd be working in the Kremlin with a two-headed dog. Two-headed dog, I'd be working in the Kremlin with a two-headed dog. Children nailed to the cross, pain does not look our hell, certainly is not a spell. Sweet west and well. Two-headed dog,
have made more money on your music than you have?
Oh,
How much money have you made out of playing?
well, I haven't really made that much, you know. I really haven't made that much, you know. I haven't made that much, you know, playing music and everything, but I'm not really bothered with it or anything, you know.
Not too concerned about money?
Not right now, I'm not, you know. I imagine it'll come my way and everything, you know, but I tell you, but I'm not really concerned about it now.
What's the next step for you? What are you planning to do with your music? What's the new? Is there any new directions?
Oh no, just you know, just follow the path, you know, and you know, of learning it. Everything, you know, goes in a certain direction, you know, each, you know, I should say each day, and so that's what I do, you know, each day, you know. I go from a Shangri-La to a learning place, you know, every day and everything, you know.
Could you play some new song?
Yeah, sure. Writing you this letter, say I'm feeling better, getting used to spending all my nights alone. Wouldn't worry about it, I can do without it. Writing you to say I'm on the right track now. If you'd come and see me, that would really free me. Tell me what the trip you took has done for you. Come and be my lover. I think you'll discover that I'm like a zephyr down the right track now. Got my consolation, my anticipation keeps me smiling every time I think your way. I see morning showers while away my hours, writing you to say I'm on the right track now. Writing you to say I'm on the right track now. Writing you to say I'm on the right track now. How's that?
I'd go by just to have a chat with him because I knew about his background with horror stories, H.P. Lovecraft. I knew he enjoyed Aleister Crowley, and I have books by these authors also. So I went by there to have a talk with him. I met his mother, and we talked about this, and Roky came out of the back, started asking me about H.P. Lovecraft, talking to me about bands.
He seemed to be fairly obsessed with Jacques Tourneur. I don't remember. I don't remember really talking to Roky about Cat People, but I did talk to him quite a bit about I Walked with a Zombie. And I think he's probably a fan of all the Val Lewton and Jacques Tourneur films.
When I was in the state hospital, what did I do in the state hospital? Well, let me see.
You
I'm
wrote
trying
this
to think.
book, Opener?
Yeah, well, most of the time, see what I did, you know, was just kind of set up a little office there, you know, and I set up a little office there and went to work there every day, you know.
Did you like the work?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I'm hungry, hungry for your love. I'm hungry, hungry for your love. I can't sleep at night, I just can't eat a bite, because I'm hungry, hungry for your love. I'm hungry, hungry for your kiss. I'm hungry for all the good I would have missed. Maybe someday true love will come my way. Some days never say, because I'm hungry, hungry for your love. Someday true love will come my way. Some days never say, because I'm hungry, hungry for your love, hungry for your love, hungry for your love, hungry for your love, so hungry for your love, hungry for your love.
Drink alcohol?
No,
You never?
No, I never have.
Used to in the 60s, or?
Well, you know, a long time ago, I didn't really drink that much, you know, but
how come
because
you quit?
I had a kind of a fighting philosophy, you know, like so I actually fought my way out of, you know, any chance of being a drunk or anything, you know.
How come you don't drink alcohol?
I just don't, you know, like you.
What's
I
the
just
reason?
don't. Huh?
What's the reason?
I just don't. You know, it's nothing that you know that'll do anything for you. You know, nothing that'll really do anything for you at all. You know, Dracula has that line. You know, I never drink wine. You know.
I drink blood.
Yeah, right. Is the night of the vampire. Tonight is the night of the vampire. If it's raining and you're running down, slip in mud, because if you do, you'll slip in blood tonight. Is the night of the vampire. Tonight is the night of the vampire. Castle from Transylvania. On St. Swithin's Day he was born. Eyes down through the darkness with no form. No harm. Night is the night of the vampire. The night is the night of the vampire. He never sleeps in the night, comes out when the moon is bright tonight. Is the night of the vampire. Tonight is the night of the vampire. Mi castle from Transylvania. On St. Swithin's Day he was born. I stare through the darkness with no form. Maiden tears, no harm. You are dead, no harm, I am dead. Me is dead. No harm. Tonight is the night of the vampire. Tonight is the night of the vampire. The
first times I talked with Roky about any sort of business arrangement. I agreed that if I should discover the secret to immortality before he does, that I'll share it with him under the condition that he share it with me. And I did get the impression sometimes that he was obsessed with finding the secret to immortality. And he doesn't accept the notion that's handed down from preachers that everybody has to die.
What I did, you know, is I just got all these pieces of paper and kept trying to sign it. And
What did you sign? What did you sign?
well, I just, you know, I just signed my soul to the devil.
Why did you do that?
Well, because that's the only way you can be sure that the devil always has possession of me, so that I won't make a mistake. Stand for the fire demon, rising in tune with the clouds. Stand for the fire demon. Satan is his crowd. Stand for the fire demon. Verse 12, 'tis not one. Stand for the fire demon. Stand, verse 12 is 1 and 1. Stand for the fire demon. Stand for the demon of the sun. Stand for the fire demon. Burning fiery bright. Stand for the fire demon. Stand, he will not scorch you alight. Stand for the fire demon. Stand for the demon of the stars. Stand for the fire demon. Satan's are we, Satan's am I. Stand for the fire demon. Spirits say boo and the paper burst into fire. Stand for the fire demon. Wilder, 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 wilder. Stand for the fire demon. Stand for the fire demon. Stand for the demon of fire. Stand for the demon of fire. Stand for the demon of fire, fire. Stand for the fire demon. Stand for the fire demon. Stand for the fire demon. Stand for the demon of fire.
In 1990, I ran into a friend of mine named Terry Owens who had introduced Roky to Tommy back in Austin in 64, 65, whenever it was. And he told me about some of Rocky's recent problems with the law enforcement, mainly the postal authorities. And Roky had gone back into the hospital, into jail, back and forth between Texas and Missouri. And we decided to put together an album, people doing Rocky's songs, to show people how great Roky was. So within a matter of 2 months, we'd gotten over 20 bands to record one of Rocky's songs, either an Elevator song that he'd written or co-written, or one of the later solo songs, and put it out as an album called Where the Pyramid Meets the Eye on Sire Records. And just the response was phenomenal.
Well, I'm just glad to see that Rocky's getting some of the acclamation and the tributes that have been coming to him, you know, through the years. I mean, he's kind of languored in obscurity for a long time, and now he's finally getting his just dues, and I hope that he'll have a comfortable, you know, second half of his life.
And there are plans for Rhino Records to do a 2-volume set spanning Rocky's entire career from the Spades all the way to the new 94 recordings with Charlie Sexton in an Austin band. So in 1990, it was kind of like out of this bad thing of Roky being arrested by the postal authorities, it's kind of come around to being a good thing where people are once again paying attention to Roky, both his contributions to rock and roll and what he's able to do now. So it's kind of like a full circle thing, and 95 will be the 30th anniversary of Rocky's first recorded work, so we hope to get the record out by then. Like a 30-year career of this man who invented a style of music called psychedelic music and still has something to contribute.
But I really feel like Rocky's not of this world. He's larger than life in so many ways that maybe he came around too early to be doing what he was doing, or message was too big and they didn't want to hear it from this guy who was doing rock and roll or something. But I think he's here for a real important reason.
People that Roky knows, people who are his friends, he's a kind, intelligent, lucid person who I've had many, many conversations with, and I've enjoyed countless conversations with. From why you don't fill up this old pool out here in the yard to, you know, how come your mother uses a ladder to go upstairs to, you know, anything, to why are you kicking this metal acetate across the floor, Roky? You know, my relationship with him was not on the music level. We were friends and I enjoyed that.
He always had such a great, like a healing vibe off of him. He's an amazing man, just amazing. I'm thrilled to be his brother, just really thrilled. I'm blessed, I know that.
Starry eyes, how can I get to you, my true little starry eyes? What can I say I do for you, my little starry eyes? Starry eyes forever shall be mine. Starry eyes, what can I say to make you listen? Starry eyes, what can I do for your attention? Starry eyes forever shall be mine. When I'm alone, I hear and feel you